Okay, in the last video we had an error and that caused a problem. I'm going to recreate that error. I've done the commit, so I'm not worried about, I can rewind if necessary. So I did a commit, I called that commit was create shopping carts, and I did a push as well. Now I'm going to try and recreate the error that I had. So if you remember, I had created the shopping cart, and this is a dictionary. This is a Python dictionary. And what I'd done, I'd used the JavaScript format, where in JavaScript you don't need quotes here. So that causes an error in Python. It doesn't cause an error in JavaScript, but I'm using Python. So let's recreate that error and see what we can do about debugging it. So I've got a deliberately broken site. Let me try and revisit. So this is the site that causes a problem. When I reload, then I get internal server error. It doesn't tell me any details. But you remember I created a file called error.log, and this error.log is going to get bigger and bigger. That's -L. You can see error.log has got 6K in it at the moment, and the error that I got will be at the end of that. So if I do tail error log, then I can see details of the last error that happened. It's quite difficult to read, but it is actually telling me what the problem is. So it's telling me that the error is on line 31, which is more or less right. Okay. No, sorry, I got the error that I first got was actually, it was here. This was the error I got. It was this one, internal server error. And if I do tail error log, that's details of the most recent error. So the actual error was caused here, this line here, line 14, that was causing the error. Could I do something about improving the error messages? Well, let's have a go. So there's a phrase that we can use at the end. So if I edit my server and go to the very end. Now we're running these servers using a system called UWSGI, and we can also run it directly. We can also run our website directly. Now this phrase here, can you see here? So if name is main, this is if you're running it directly, then this will happen at run host, blah, 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 and you use your own port and you put debug to. If we're running it in WSGI or UWSGI, then this phrase here should give us some debugging. Okay, let's save that, and we should get inline debugging. Let's go back and try again. And now you can see the error message here. It's unfortunate that it's in raw HTML, but we're getting an error message. Okay, so we're getting an error message, and if we look at this thing here, when I reload this, no, not this one, the one before. Yeah, let's try that. Okay, now we're getting a much nicer error message. It's saying a key error. So in this case, I was trying to get something out of the shopping cart, and there was no such key. All right, so I'm getting an error here. It should have said welcome to my cart, format carts SCI, and SCID is 112233, and there is no such shopping cart. So that's the error message I'm getting there. And the error message I'm getting here is a bit harder to read because it's in HTML. But this actually is telling me the details. It's telling me where the file is, where the error is. Okay, so that's some debugging tips. We've got a couple of ways of debugging. If we put this phrase in, then the debugging information should come through, and it's useful in certain cases, less useful in others. So this is the magic phrase you need. If we're running it directly, then it'll just run the app in debug mode. If we're not running it directly, then you need this magic phrase here to make the error work, to make the error show up. Let's fix the error that we had, because that's annoying. So it's not product list, so the product list must be quoted. So let's put in quotes there and there. Okay, so we haven't improved the functionality any. What we've done though is to give ourselves better error messages. Let's save that and hope that we're getting something better now. So go back and click on this, and it seems to be working. Not only that, but if I have a syntax error, I've got some hope of debugging it now. Okay, in the next video, we'll continue on and get a little bit more. We'll get a little bit more functionality in, but let's save the fact. So we'll git commit -m. We've got debugger, not denugger, debugger in place. -a and a git push. Okay, so we've got our magic phrase at the end of the server file, just here at the bottom, and this phrase here should mean that we get a chance of debugging if we've got errors in our Python. And let's face it, we always get errors in our Python. In the next video then, we'll move on to a little bit more functionality.